Hi, Ash.
Hey Fiona, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Are you all right?
Yes, I am very, very good. So, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about being prepared. Being prepared, really, in terms of your documents that a mortgage broker will ask from you. Being prepared and making sure everything's correct, so there's no hurdles.
And so, I've put down here on the title, it's acting fast when getting a mortgage, because I think that's what you are talking about here, which is this
Yeah.
idea of having everything ready. Now, why, just before we dive into the being prepared, why is it, well, it's part of this, why is it so important that you should be able to act fast right now? Because that's something that we're seeing a lot where people are talking about this idea of being able to move quickly on mortgage products. Why is that so important right now?
Yeah, so there's two main things. One is houses are still selling. There are still quite a few viewings for each property, and people need to be in a position to put an offer in. But then the second thing is that we're finding at the moment is that lenders are refreshing their mortgage products quite a lot.
Yeah.
So what we see one day that's available may not be there the next day, and in a lot of cases, what we're seeing the next day is actually not as favourable as the day before. So it's just encouraging people to be prepared so we can get them the most competitive rate for them at that time, because it might not be there the next day.
Yeah. Well, I've been hearing from like friends and stuff within the industry saying things like they're having conversations with clients where they say, need to get the documents in order. You know, the rate, the payment, your payment's gone up by, and this is just obviously just for as an example, like your payment's gone up by £200 a month. Get the documents to me, and they'll go, yeah, I'll get it. And then they'll come back 2 days later and they're like, I've got it already. And they're like, yeah, it's £250 a month now. Like it's and that's I've been
Yeah.
hearing quite a lot. Like that's just a case, like a fictional case study, but I'm hearing that from people in the industry quite a lot. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, that's awful for the clients, but it's awful for mortgage brokers as well.
Awful conversations.
Yeah, I don't want to say that to people. I really don't. It's awful. I feel like I'm just giving a lot of bad news at the moment, and that's not nice. But what I am saying to people, and I've mentioned this before, my intention is not to put pressure on anybody. But what I am saying is this rate is here right now. We said this last time, and it's so important to reiterate this. This rate's here right now. I don't know whether it'll be here or not tomorrow. It would be a great idea if you had your documents sorted and we could try and sort this out for you as soon as possible.
And do you find then with that, like what type of stuff do they need to really have in
Yeah.
hand so they can act like you say right now? What would you say is the stuff that people really need to have?
Yeah, so I mean, the main things that we're going to ask for is proof of who you are. You know, we need passport, driving license. We need proof of your current address, usually dated in the last 3 months. We need, proof of income. We're asking for bank statements. If you're buying a house, we're asking for proof of deposit. And I always ask for credit reports as well. And we're seeing, as mortgage brokers, I think, quite a lot of mistakes with these documents where maybe the ID has expired, maybe the driving license has an old address on, maybe the bank statements aren't registered at their current address. And it's just making sure that if you move house, everything is streamlined. You've made sure that, your address has been changed, your ID is still in date. So that everything matches, because when we send these documents to lenders, they want to know who you are, where you come from, what you earn, and what your credit commitments are. And we need to be able to provide that in the best way we can so that they're not having to come back to us with any questions.
So with that, then, would you recommend that like potential buyers, potential remortgage clients, whatever, all that scenario, have like a kind of an active folder running at any given time? So it's like, that's what I was thinking just then when you're saying that, thinking like having some sort of folder that's like if it's coming, okay, new pay slips come in, put that in, new this come in, put that, every time something's changing, that they're just keeping this folder active until they've actually secured the mortgage deal. Would that be something you'd recommend?
Yeah, it's crazy you've mentioned that, because it is something I've actually said to clients before.
Oh, really?
Anyone who's heard this podcast knows I like clients to come and speak to me as soon as they can when they're wanting to start looking for properties. And that's one thing I will mention to them. It's a really good idea, because you don't know if you're going to see the house of your dreams tomorrow or in 3 months. So for me, assume it's tomorrow, work on the basis it's tomorrow, start to get everything prepared, start to make sure everything's in date, get that credit report downloaded. And then if it is tomorrow, you've got everything you need. If it isn't, yeah, like you say, keep adding to it every month. So you can just say, Fiona, I found my house. Here you go. Here's my documents. Or we need to look at my remortgage. Here's my documents.
And on that as well, because I just remember from my old days of it more, because I used to say that, and that's what's so good you say that, because it's interesting. So one thing I would ask to you on this then is, what about people, for example, who are commission based? So there's a lot, I know that like when people who are looking for houses month to month, that changes the amount of money they can borrow. So surely somebody having that type of, so someone having that type of folder, do you think they should be then, emailing that I'm getting in touch with their broker and going, okay, and every time that new payslip comes in, going, what can I borrow now? Because, well, as me and you both know, those are moving goalposts, and I think that can be quite that's another benefit, I think, of having that active folder. Is that something you would think?
Yeah, this is something I was up against when I was employed, because I was salary with commission, and I remember looking for a property, and I remember every month just noticing that my maximum borrowing was changing all the time, and
quite drastically, isn't it?
I know it can do. So it's like, right, okay, I need to reassess what I can buy now. So yeah, if someone sends me if a client's salary and commission, and they send me their pay slips from February, March, April, lenders tend to look at the last 3 months' pay slips. We can't do anything with those, because your last 3 months' pay slips could be very different to those. So I'm giving you the wrong advice if you send me that information. That's not correct. So it's always going to be last 3 months' pay slips we need to look at. And sometimes, depending on how you are paid, it could be more than that. In some cases, we could be asking for 12 months' pay slips. Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's interesting to bring that up, just because, again, similar to you, because we were from a similar industry originally, is like, I remember that when I bought my house, it was commission, and it was something that was very annoying. And so, and something that I wasn't aware of when I bought my house, because I wasn't a broker at the time. And I remember thinking, like, this is crazy how luckily it landed at the right point, but it could have drastically reduced. And so people who are trying to make these decisions right now in this kind of economic climate, if they're not aware of these other little external things like commission, it could be a big hurdle for them, I think.
Yeah, I think it's important as a broker to ensure that this kind of additional income, I suppose, is sustainable. So, it's always good for us to see that, for a period of time you are earning similar amounts, but it can change. It really can change. That small dip can make quite a big difference to affordability. So yeah, recent documents are what we need.
And with the credit report, then, how often would you say someone on that for the credit report, how often should they be like re-downloading and rechecking their credit report? For you, is it roughly, I know it doesn't matter too much, but like that, like how long before you go, okay, we need to probably see a new credit report? So let's say I download it now, and in 4 months' time I come to you. Is that out of date, would you say, or is that something you're like, okay, I need to see a most recent one?
Yeah, so that would be out of date. These credit reports can take a bit of time to refresh. So you may have paid your credit card off yesterday, but it's not going to show on your credit report for a period of time. So even when the credit report is downloaded, I am always asking as well, has anything changed in the last few weeks? Have you taken out a car loan? Have you paid off your credit card? Because they won't be a true reflection of today in some cases. It might be a few weeks ago. So yeah, I would say when I'm asking for the documents, really, I want a credit report that's dated in the last few days.
I like that. That's brilliant. Any parting words on this episode for people before we run it out?
I'm going to jump on your advice, actually. Make a file.
It's not my advice, it's yours.
Make a file, put your documents in it. So when I ask you for your documents, it's all there.
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Bye.